Good evening. Borders are man-made. They only divide us physically. Don't let them make us turn on each other. Welcome to BMC News Live in English, brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers. I am Vinod Narayanan, joining you with the daily news updates. Today's headlines. Pope Francis and Sheikh Al-Azhar agreed on coordination to save humanity from wars and conflicts. His Majesty the King bid farewell to His Holiness Pope of Vatican and Grand Imam Sheikh of Al-Azhar. Nationality passports and residence affairs issued voting card and election polling day on November 12th. UAE to further relax COVID-19 restrictions from Monday. Last total lunar eclipse for 3 years arrives Tuesday. News in detail. Pope Francis and Sheikh Al-Azhar agreed on coordination to save humanity from wars and conflicts. His Holiness Pope Francis and His Eminence Sheikh of Al-Azhar and Chairman of the Muslim Council of Elders Ahmad Al-Tayyib held a meeting during their visit to Bahrain in participation in the Bahrain Dialogue Forum East and West for Human Coexistence, held under the patronage of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. His Excellency the Grand Imam expressed his appreciation of His Highness the Pope's efforts to promote peace and coexistence. He stressed that the meetings that bring them together are within their fraternal relations and joint attempts to consolidate the values of peace, coexistence and mutual acceptance. He said he and Pope have common views on the importance of coordination between them to save humanity from the scourge of conflicts and wars by focusing on common grounds in confronting all ideas and practices that feed and spread hatred and intolerance. The Human Fraternity document has become a model and an approach that represent a basis for building peace, harmony, mutual respect and tolerance among people, he said. Pope Francis welcomed the Grand Imam and expressed his appreciation for the efforts of Al-Azhar and the Muslim Council of Elders in supporting and encouraging dialogue between religions and promoting world peace. Our relationship with the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar and the Council of Muslim Elders represents an important stage for relations between East and West, the Pope said. He stressed the importance of the solidarity of religious leaders for the sake of humanity and the significance of raising the voice of religion in the service of humanity. Pope Francis emphasized the role of dialogue in ending wars and conflicts and limiting the spread of racism and hatred. His Majesty the King bid farewell to His Holiness Pope of Vatican and Grand Imam Sheikh of Al-Azhar. His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa bid farewell to His Holiness Pope Francis and the accompanying delegation upon his departure from Bahrain today, concluding a historic 4-day official visit to the kingdom at the invitation of His Majesty the King. The Pope has participated in the Bahrain Dialogue Forum East and West for Human Coexistence in its first session held under the patronage of His Majesty King Hamad. His Majesty the King also bid farewell to His Eminence Sheikh of Al-Azhar and Chairman of the Muslim Council of Elders Dr. Ahmad Al-Tayyib upon his departure today, concluding a visit to the kingdom at the invitation of His Majesty the King. The Grand Imam has participated in the Bahrain Dialogue Forum East and West for Human Coexistence. They were also bidden farewell by their Highnesses, dignitaries and senior officers from Bahrain Defense Force, Interior Ministry, International Guard. Nationality passports and residence affairs issued voting card and election polling day on November 12th. The Executive Management of the Parliamentary and Municipal Elections 2022 confirmed that the mechanism organizing the voting process on the polling day scheduled for November 12th and in the turn of schedule for the following Saturday, November 19th, requires voters to bring their passports to complete the voting process. According to the procedures in place, the voters whose passports will not be in their possession on the polling day due to loss, cancellation or any other reason are required to review the nationality passports and residence affairs at the Ministry of Interior to request the issuance of a voting card that will be dealt with as an official alternative document to the passport to enable the eligible voter whose passport is not available on that day to participate and vote early, bearing in mind the need to bring an ID card. However, if the passport is due to expire during the period between the days of polling and runoffs, the passport can be used to complete the voting process. The Nationality Passports and Residence Affairs of the Ministry of Interior will start receiving applications during the official working period, starting from Sunday, November 6, 2022 until next Saturday, November 12th. The issuance of the card is scheduled to resume on the official holiday, which falls on Friday as well as on Saturday, coinciding with the polling day. The Nationality Passports and Residence Affairs will begin its work on the day of voting from 8 a.m. until 7 p.m. It is worth noting that voters can visit the main Center for Nationality Passports and Residence Affairs at the Ministry of Interior in Manama or visit the Muharraq Orissa Town branch. Bahrain International Air Show 2022 to open on Wednesday. The 6th edition of the Bahrain International Air Show will be held on November 9th to 11th under the patronage of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa. His Majesty the King's personal representative and chairman of the Higher Organizing Committee, His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Hamad Al Khalifa, is supervising the mega show organized by the Ministry of Transportation and Telecommunications and Royal Bahrain Air Force. The show, which was launched 10 years ago, will host 100 high-level civilian and military delegations from all over the world to connect companies with key decision makers and executives in the aviation sector. Up to leading 120 companies are also set to take part in the 2022 edition, which covers an area of 14,000 square meters. 5 countries will have their own pavilions, in addition to the pavilion of the Kingdom of Bahrain. The show has become a premium platform to meet key industry players in the region, provide opportunities for networking and building value-added relationships, as well as strengthening Bahrain's leading position as a gateway to the larger regional market. It is expected that the exhibition will witness a large presence of Saudi and Emirati companies working in the aviation sector. The exhibition encourages Bahraini entrepreneurs and startups, as some projects in the field of catering will have the opportunity to participate in the family space, which is an entertainment area open to the general public located near the trade fair. Bahrain International Air Show 2022 will also support science, technology and engineering programs and mathematics through parallel events to the exhibition that include educational activities to encourage Bahraini youth to pursue careers in the aviation sector. Land investment platform fast-tracks development projects. Finance and National Economy Ministry, Assistant Under Secretary for Resources and Information, Noura Hassan Al-Assam, stressed the crucial role of the private sector in spurring growth. Al-Assam stressed the need to further support the private sector, which represents a driving engine and an active partner in Bahrain's economic development. She stressed the importance of the land investment platform, which was launched by the government on April 6th as an innovative way to streamline procedures. She noted that the platform constitutes also a unified hub aimed at listing government lands available for investment in one place and making lands data available to those wishing to invest in them. She stressed the importance of the platform in fast-tracking the implementation of projects, optimizing the use of government lands, stimulating the investment into the real estate sector. In addition to strengthen partnership with the private sector, 20 government-owned plots covering more than 238,000 square meters have so far been listed in the platform. 3 plots for public investment, 10 plots for commercial investment, 3 plots for educational investment, and 4 others for entertainment investment. Oncology and Palliative Care Conference, a boost to medical sector. The first Oncology and Palliative Care Conference held in Bahrain is of paramount importance at the regional level. President Council of Health, Lieutenant General Dr. Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdullah Al Khalifa affirmed. He stressed the significance of the event in enriching the medical sector, which is witnessing steady growth due to the care and support of His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa and His Royal Highness Prince Salman bin Hamad Al Khalifa, Crown Prince and Prime Minister. The SCH President made the statements during his attendance of Bahrain's first Oncology and Palliative Care Conference, which was co-organized by the Government Hospitals and Education Plus on November 5 and 6. In the presence of Chief Executive of the Government Hospitals, Dr. Ahmed Mohammed Al Ansari, and senior officials. Participants from Bahrain and beyond also attended the conference. Today's COVID updates.
COVID updates brought to you by Al Hilal Hospital and Medical Centers.
Now we will be back after a very short break.
The 16th branch of Megamart and Macromart supermarkets in Bahrain has opened in Sahla. The best offers are available to the customers at affordable rates. Everyone is welcome. During and around the opening day, a variety of fish including salmon, meat and dairy products, roastery, frozen items, food and non-food items, groceries, fruits and vegetables, electronics, garments and ready-to-eat food items are available to the customers at affordable rates. Hearty welcome to all. Megamart and Macromart, your favorite shopping destination.
Welcome back. UAE to further relax COVID-19 restrictions from Monday. The UAE will cancel all restrictions and precautionary measures related to COVID-19 as the country entered the second phase of easing restrictions. Effective at 6 a.m. on Monday, 7th November 2022, official spokesperson of the National Emergency Crisis and Disasters Management Authority, Dr. Saif Al-Dahri, announced the measure during UAE government media briefing on the COVID-19 pandemic. Wearing masks will be optional in our open and closed facilities, including places of worship and mosques, except for health facilities and centers for people of determination, where it will be mandatory, he said. Last September, the UAE authorities relaxed several measures and restrictions related to COVID-19, UAE News Agency reported. Dr. Al-Dahri also announced a set of measures for the health sector, as COVID-19 will be included in the National Active Surveillance Program for influenza and acute respiratory diseases. 100 years after Tutankhamun discovery, new finds reveal more of ancient Egypt's secrets. At the Saqqara site in Giza, moving Earth one bucket at a time, archaeologists have found a giant trove of ancient coffins and mummies, along with ceramic amulets believed to have been used in burial rituals and thick papyrus documents. Egyptologist Zahi Hawass, Egypt's former state minister for antiquities, told NBC News Wednesday that the site contained countless other artifacts relating to another pharaoh, King Teti, and his followers who worshipped him as a god for 1,000 years after his death. The remains of King Tutankhamun's closest generals and advisors were also at the site, which sits about 20 miles south of the North African nation's capital, he said. The team had found close to 300 coffins in the vicinity of his pyramid this year, most of them in good condition, believed to have ruled for approximately 12 years between 2300 and 2181 BC. Teti was the first king of the 6th dynasty of ancient Egypt. Saudi Falcons decorated Doha sky in preparation for World Cup 2022. The Saudi Falcons team decorated the Doha sky during a tour they conducted in preparation for the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. The air show that they performed on Saturday included a parade in the Doha Corniche into the Arabian Gulf and passing through several stadiums. It also passed Al Bayt Stadium, which has been chosen to host the opening match of the World Cup that will take place on November 20th. During the tour, the Saudi Falcons team showcased their capabilities and skills through impressive displays that showed the high level of their abilities in flying in the sky of the Qatari capital. Last total lunar eclipse for 3 years arrives Tuesday. Better catch the moon's disappearing act Tuesday. There won't be another like it for 3 years. The total lunar eclipse will be visible throughout North America in the pre-dawn hours. The further west, the better, and across Asia, Australia, and the rest of the Pacific after sunset. As an extra treat, Uranus will be visible just a finger's width above the moon, resembling a bright star. Totality will last nearly 1.5 hours, from 5:16 a.m. to 6:41 a.m. as Earth passes directly between the moon and sun, Associated Press reported. Known as blood moon, it will appear a reddish-orange from the light of Earth's sunsets and sunrises. At the peak of the eclipse, the moon will be 242,740 miles away, according to NASA scientists. Binoculars and telescopes will enhance viewing, provided the skies are clear. Striking out altogether, Africa, Middle East, and most of Europe will have to wait until 2025. Among those providing a live stream of Tuesday's lunar extravaganza, Griffith Observatory in Los Angeles and the Italian-based Virtual Telescope Project. It is the second total lunar eclipse this year. The first was in May. The next one won't be until 2025. Plenty of partial lunar eclipses will be available in the meantime. A 5-bench Constitution bench of the Supreme Court delivered the judgment backing economically weaker sections reservation by a 3.2 majority view. The Supreme Court of India on Monday backed the 10% economically weaker sections quota introduced by the central government. which provides reservation in education and jobs to people belonging to economically weaker sections. A 5-bench constitution bench of the Supreme Court delivered the judgment backing economically weaker sections reservation by a 3-2 majority view. The Constitution Bench of the top court on September 27 reserved the verdict on legality of the economically weaker sections quota after hearing a bunch of pleas that have challenged the validity of the 103rd Constitution Amendment that paved the way for 10% reservation to economically weaker sections in jobs and admissions. Justice Dinesh Maheshwari said the law does not violate the Constitution's basic structure for equality code by taking into account economic criteria. It does not also cause damage to any essential feature by exceeding the 50% ceiling for quotas, since the ceiling is itself flexible. The Supreme Court has framed 3 broad issues for its judgment: whether the 103rd Constitution Amendment Act for implementing economically weaker sections quota breaches the basic structure of the Constitution by permitting the state to make special provisions, including reservation based on economic criteria, by permitting it to make special provisions for admissions to private unaided institutions, and whether the amendment breaches the basic structure of the Constitution by excluding the SCBCs, OBCs, SCs, STs from economically weaker sections reservation. With that, we come to the end of today's news. Stay tuned for daily news updates in BMC News Live English at 7:30 p.m. every day. I am Vinod Narayanan signing off from BMC News Live. Good night.